happy spring. And this is something I wanted to do when I got the tutus, is that I can't just leave it as just I'm gonna do like a matching set with the tutu. I have to be a little bit extra, and I thought this would be a really good Mother's Day thing. And then I started researching, and I was like, okay, I can't just leave it as like a match your tutu and color collection. Like, I want to turn us into princesses, and I want to be the queen, and my girls will be the princesses. So I've been researching on how to make flower crowns, and I'm totally like, these are the first flower crowns I've ever made. So I had a lot of like learning lessons that I've done over the last like 24 hours. But I'm super happy with how they turned out. Like, I love how they turned out. So I wanted, since I kind of know the process, is it perfect? No, but you guys will get the idea. And hopefully I can like show you enough to where you guys can get started. Whether you want to make like a flower crown for yourself, or whether you want to make one for your pet. So I found these headbands. So these headbands I found at the dollar store. And what I really liked about them, I mean, you just need a basic headband. You can use just a regular headband. The one thing though, because you're going to be putting the zip ties around them, is you don't really want, you want it strong enough, but you don't want it too thick enough. So I really liked these that I found in the dollar store because they had these little holes in it. And it was really easy for me to measure the middle point. So I basically measured the middle point, which is probably right here. And what you're going to do is you're going to use one long and then three of the short, one long zip tie, longer zip tie, I should say. I have like longer zip ties, but they were like too long. So you're going to use one longer and then three shorter. On like, and you just basically rotate that pattern. So you start with the longer zip tie in the middle point. I'm not going to totally like attach them. I'm just going to show you a little bit. So you start with a longer one in the middle, and then you just do three on either side, right? Like that, right? And then you just keep rotating that pattern. And I dropped a picture yesterday of kind of like what it looked like before. So you do it all the way around until you kind of get to the end. Like, I didn't want them that was like totally like sticking out by my ears. So I just did it to probably about that point. And then when you're done with that, you can spray paint it. I spray painted mine like this gold color. This golden leaf color, but you can kind of spray paint like whatever color you think is like appropriate, right? If you want to do like a silver crown or whatever. So you spray paint that, and then I will show you the back of my crown. So this crown was actually pretty easy to make because there isn't really wrapping. So what then I did, so here's the gold, then I just ended up like hot gluing. I did like the base of the flowers and then the outer flowers, and then on the back I ended up putting just like some of the greenery just to kind of hide it a little bit more, right? And that's it. I mean it's really, really easy. It was like a really, really easy one to make. So so I mean, this would be like a really cute costume, or whatever thing that you wanted to do. But yeah, really fun on that one. So those are the adults, like the queen. I guess I'm the queen, right? All right, so let's talk a little bit about the pet crowns. So the pet crowns are actually made, so I didn't make them with the headbands, and what I did is I took this flat wire And let's move that. So I took this flat wire at the that I found. It's just in the jewelry section, right? And so I took the flat wire, and the first thing I did, and we're gonna do her crown. So the first thing I did is I went and I took Coda and I measured Coda between cheek to cheek. Okay. And so you don't measure it like around the head. I've seen some crowns that you measure around the head, but I really like the ones that kind of go on top of her head like this, mainly because I knew it would stay a little bit longer or it'd be easier to like secure. So I measured the top of Coda's head. I think I put her ears behind. I mean, Tofu, it doesn't really matter because she's a stuffed animal, but so I'm going to measure it, and I measured it to like Coda's cheekbone. And you want it just a little bit longer than their temple, and there's a reason why. So I'm going to measure Tofu's head, and I guess that's good. Thank you, Tofu. And then I'm going to take some wire cutters. And I love these wire cutters. I use them for everything. And then I'm going to snip it. Okay. So then what we're going to do is I use a chopstick for almost everything in my world and when it comes to crafting. So I used a chopstick, and I'm going to make like a little like loop. I don't want it to stick out. I just want enough to be like a little loop, right? So we make a little loop with the wire. Oops. Okay. And then make sure like the ends are tucked in so it doesn't poke them. So make a little loop. Make sure there's no pokey ends, just so it doesn't poke your pets. And then I'm going to measure Tofu's head again. And this wire is actually, and that should hit about where your pet's temple is about. And it depends. I mean, if you wanted a little bit to sit higher, that's fine. Okay. So the reason why we're doing that is on what we're going to do is we are going to take the flowers and so these ends are where you secure the ribbon. What I'm going to do on the ribbon is this is what's going to secure it around the dog's head. So I'm going to take the ribbon, put it through both holes. So when you put it around the dog, what you're going to do is you're going to put it underneath his neck, right? So Bruno, so I put it under Coda's neck. Now what I did with Coda is I ended up putting it around her neck, and then I ended up tying it in front. You can also, I've seen it too where, like in Bruno's case, I'm probably going to tie it in the back. So it depends upon whatever is comfortable for your dog. If they can tolerate it, you could also tie it in the back like that, right? So it just gives it a little bit more security than just, it sitting like as a circle around their head. So that's why you have the two little circles there. With a lot of trial and error last night, what we're going to do is we're going to take the flowers, we're going to take the stem of the flowers. I ended up buying chain flowers like this and then kind of cutting them off. So I ended up cutting it out like that because I didn't have, if you have a longer stem like that, you can wrap it along the stem. But since the flowers I bought were more on the chain, I just ended up cutting out a portion of the chain. Now, sometimes the flowers I noticed last night, fell off, but I'll probably just have to hot glue those on. So because my flowers stick out, I'm just going to kind of put it along the edge like that. Now, if you had a stem, you could lay the stem down and then wrap the longer stem around. So if this stem kind of came out to here, you could wrap the stem along, and then you keep wrapping it with the stems pointed one way, and then when you get to the center, you point these stems to the other direction, and then you kind of fill in the gaps, right? So for me, because these are kind of more like a T-shaped, so I'm going to take this, and then now I'm just going to wrap it. So I'm going to wrap it, and then I'm going to wrap it on the other side. And you would do this kind of like if you were doing a stemmed one, right? And then I'm going to not totally wrap it, and then I'm going to do the next section. So like I said, if you have a longer stemmed flower, you can just use the longer stem and you just wrap it. But in my case, all right, so now I'm just gonna, like if you had the longer stem, you'd put the other stem on kind of on top of it just so it would secure. So now I'm going to wrap this around on one side, and then I'm going to wrap this on the other side. Okay, and you just keep going like that. Okay, so I'm going to lay that on top again, and I'm just going to wrap it. And that's pretty much all you do, is you just wrap it with, a wire. Like I said, I'm using pipe cleaner. And then the other thing you want to do if you're using it for a dog is just make sure you go over it again with like this one's kind of pointy out, right? So you want to make sure you go over it again, either with, a pipe cleaner, or you trim it down just so you're not, there's no like pokey things. I mean, obviously this is going to go on a stuffed animal, so it doesn't really matter. But if I was doing this one for a dog, I would just double check to make sure there was like no pokey things, right? So you keep wrapping it until you get it all the way around like that. And then you go back in. So like on Coda's, I did the front part where I just went back in, and then I took some hot glue and I just filled in to make it a little bit fuller. So I just filled in the additional flowers on hers and to make it a little bit fuller. Now, the one thing, I left this piece open for a reason. So now I'm just going to go back in, and I'm going to fill in more. So I'm just going to go back in, and I'm going to fill it more with flowers. And then I'm probably going to fill it with extra greenery just to kind of hold the back of it, or to like conceal the back, right? I mean, not that like Coda would even notice or care, because she's a dog, she doesn't care. But I think it just looks better if you just have it filled. And then the only pieces that are really going to show are going to be like these two little middle parts that you see. So I'm going to add, so I just took this stem off of this one, and I'm just going to cut the stem a little bit. And hopefully not try to burn myself in the process. So there we go. I'm going to just fill it back in just to make it a little bit fuller, and then just conceal, just to kind of conceal this this piece. So you can, you can make it as like full as you want with, it's pretty easy hot glue project. Push that in there. Okay, so that's it. So that is it. So I have both sides, both the front and the back of the crown. So I have both the side and the back now of Coda's crown that I filled in. And I have a few little like hot glue gun stuff. So here is, I think, the back of it that I just filled in. And then here is the front of it, or maybe vice versa. I guess it doesn't really matter. So this one's going to be Tofu's, and I will keep working on this one. And, like I said, I wanted to do something kind of fun for Mother's Day. And, so we're going to do a little Mother's Day photo op with like, me and Coda, and then now Tofu. And I just thought this would be like super fun. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. Hopefully it made sense to you. Like I said, I'm kind of learning as I go of doing this, but I definitely like, instead of the crown going around the head, I definitely like it going over the head, where I can attach like these two pieces, to ribbon, and then just put the ribbon underneath Coda's neck. So I think that's all. But anyways, I'm gonna finish this up. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Get outside. It's the spring. Go enjoy your pups, and I will talk to you guys again soon. All right, talk to you guys later.